And what is going on, everyone? Welcome to Xbox Ultimate Podcast. Let's see, this is episode number 205. And yeah, it's been a crazy busy week or so. And even I guess last couple of days of just news regarding Xbox and a lot of things to talk about tonight. And I kind of want to get into it and just overall everything going on just kind of put this like different that I wouldn't say different perspective, but just reaffirming and another kind of reaffirming the feelings that I always had and kind of making it even more concrete about kind of the state of Xbox, but also everything we have to look forward to and why I honestly think it's the best ecosystem, period. And we're gonna get into that and more. But yeah, we don't have a full panel tonight. I think it's just gonna be me and Fuzz hanging out, unless somebody else ends up becoming available. But we'll see. But I'm looking forward to the show tonight, and thanks for Fuzzy for always being here. Appreciate you, man. How's it going, dude?
Not too bad. Been just playing a lot of games in Game Pass as of late, falling
Yeah.
back on some old ones, some new stuff added, but glad to be here with you today. And man, looking forward to some updates on some roadmap games next
Yeah.
week. Pretty sure we're going to get into it. And then update to one of my favorite racing games. Gotta re-download it because I've been taking a break from racing games for a bit. But yeah, there's just so much, man. Yeah, Xbox is the best ecosystem right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like the amount of stuff keep flowing. As far as news and previews and games to look forward to and games hitting Game Pass and content updates on existing games and all these things, it's like overwhelming, man. It's like I kind of want to just get into all of that stuff in general, right? And there's like I made this list and I was just actually having trouble keep like remembering everything because there's just a lot of stuff like right now happening. And it kind of like there's been a lot of talk lately with the community about it's reminding people of the 360 days, right? And it's starting to get that energy a little bit for me. And I think it kind of started with the launch of Black Ops 6, but then knowing
Mhm.
that you also have all these other things to look forward to, then those other games keep hitting their stride with updates and stuff too. But speaking of Game Pass games, man, earlier today I was checking out Metal Slug Tactics, bro,
Nice.
and it's really good. It's really good. I am a tactics fan in general, and I
Mhm.
remember when I saw that game for the first time, I was like, "Oh, I want to get that." Then it was just kind of randomly announced that it was going to be hitting Game Pass this month, so I was able to play it, and yeah, it's different, man. It's like for a tactics game, it's got a lot of different mechanics that I haven't really seen before in
Mhm.
tactics games, but they make sense, So I'm loving it, and it's gonna be a game I'm playing for a while, probably off and on, man. It's really cool. It's simple game, but like
Mhm.
it has that like retro style pixel graphics kind of right, the Metal Slug style,
Yeah.
but the animations are good. Like it's got some humor with it. Overall, but the just the tactics in it, like the options you have and the mechanics of like how things work, I was kind of surprised. It's better than I thought it was gonna be, and I was already excited for it. So, do you ever dabble in tactics games, Buzz?
I haven't in a while. I'll probably give this one a try. Right now, I'm kind of on a roguelike bullet hell kind of game. What is it called? Turnip Boy robs a bank or something.
Oh, right
It,
on.
it's not exact, but it has some similarities to like a Vampire Survivor kind of deal. But it's nowhere near as addicting, but it is a little bit of addicting to it. So you got to do some of the quests as you're robbing a bank, and you have to beat the timer before you get busted and stuff like that. So along with that, just been playing. Still on my sci-fi kick with Prey and Starfield and Outer Worlds, just kind of bouncing back and forth between those. And even re-downloaded Aliens. Was it Fire Team Elite?
Oh
Um,
yeah, that was a
I
fun
had
game.
some of the skins that I didn't on from before, so just been playing that for a little bit as well. But yeah, Metal Slug, it has a nice look to it because it reminds me of like the arcade of like almost like Contra and Ikari Warriors kind of mix kind of thing. But I haven't tried a tactics version of that, so I'll probably wind up giving it a try here not too long.
Right on, man. Yeah, it's just like I think part of this year, or one of the reasons I'm feeling this way, is just like the variety of games we've gotten and all these different genres. It's been
Yeah.
that's been stellar because I like tactics games, I like RPGs, I like shooters, I like sports games even. I like pretty much most genres. So,
Mhm.
but there's been excellent ones in almost like every category. And there's some I haven't even had a chance to play. Like I see AJH was saying you guys should all be playing Dragon Age. The story is fucking fantastic. Just finished it last
Mm.
night. Yeah, it's one I'm definitely gonna get to. That I know there's some it's a game that some people love, some people hate. I haven't seen anything in it so far that makes me think I'm not gonna like it. So that's one I'm going to get to enjoy at some point here. But yeah, that's just like any other year. That would have been easy, no doubt, brainer day one. And I was planning on getting it probably day one, but like I still have Metaphor that I need to
Mhm.
finish. And I'm really into that game. Um, but Aura, History Untold, Age of Mythology kind of grabbed me, more than I thought they would.
Yeah.
But and then I know right around the corner, and I think part of it is like I know these big RPGs. I don't sit there and just play through them like I used to back in the day. There's
Mhm.
just too much stuff going on and like all the time, and I don't have time to sit there and play for like 8 hours anymore like I used to, right? Like just like hey, not doing anything, just fucking playing games. So these games, these RPGs and stuff, I end up kind of dragging them out over a long period of time and stuff. So knowing that, I want to give it all my attention, but I know that Stalker 2's hitting soon, and I'm already gonna have access to it. It's hitting Game
Yeah.
Pass. And speaking of Stalker 2, Fuzz, did you see the new trailer?
No, I haven't seen the new trailer yet, but I'm anxious to see what they are going to show us just before release. I've been kind of keeping an eye on like the new weapons and things like that as far as what you can find out in the field, but I haven't seen the new trailer yet.
Yeah, it's really good, man. Like it focuses on the guns and the environment and stuff. So, speaking of Stalker 2, it has gone. One of the news bits is they announced that it's gone gold.
Nice.
So no, there's not going to be any surprise delays or anything like that. The Stalker 2 is actually coming out. It's coming out on the 20th.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one that I'm really looking forward to, and it got glowing previews. So there's no reason to think this game's going to be anything but great, and looking forward to that. But before that, we also get Flight Sim.
Yep. Like a day before.
Yeah, I know. In 2 days, we get 2 big games, and we just got Black Ops 6, which if you wanna count happening close together on the 14th, which is 5 days before Flight Sim, is season 1 for Black Ops 6, which might as well be its own fucking game with the amount of content that they're adding for season 1.
Yeah.
Um, then we're getting a new Warzone map and all that stuff as well. Um it's crazy, Buzz. I really think that overall, like everything that they're delivering is kind of cementing them, and I think it's going to be harder and harder for people to ignore. I'm not saying that people need to have to go buy an Xbox, whatever. Like it's fine if you want to play whatever. They're giving you multiple different ways to access their games, right?
Yeah.
But I think overall, just like with the things that they're doing, it's gonna be harder to ignore and kind of act like it's irrelevant or act like they're less than, because it is going to be it's gonna be so clear that they're delivering more content across all these different genres at a better value than anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that same way.
I definitely do, and I'm hoping they tie it off with a bow with a handheld unveiling before the year is out. Like I think at this point they're already getting their stride as far as release cadence and things like that. I know many weren't too happy with the Avowed delay, but it'll stack up the year. As far as 2025 right off the rip, having stuff in the first few months. I know this year it was a little bit of a lighter spot as far as for things outside of Hellblade. If you're not a PC player or a strategy like a RTS type of player, but I think they're going to have a full plate, the beginning of next year. But man, it's to ignore Xbox at this point, whether you want to play it through Game Pass on your Xbox or through a browser or on your PC. They're definitely giving you at least a reason to check them out. The variety of games, the amount of games that they keep releasing into the service and stuff like that. We're getting a lot of games that were normally skipping the platform. I mean, heck, we're even getting some PlayStation titles or one time PlayStation exclusives coming over. So yeah, it's pretty amazing right now knowing that you got before the end of the year. It's not just okay, Call of Duty. We can relax, kick our feet up, not have to worry about anything. No, they're still releasing Indiana Jones. You still got Stalker 2. You still got Flight Sim. And more than likely, there's going to be something else in there squeezed in between. And then to start off the next year with Avowed, and more than likely from, I guess, what we'll probably find out next week, we'll probably get a release date or some more info on, South of Midnight. So, yeah, they're stacking it up from now until, whenever. And the backlog is only getting deeper.
Yeah. 100%, man. You had mentioned also the Death Stranding drop, right?
Yeah.
When you talked about games from other places coming all of a sudden randomly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. It was just kind of a random surprise, and that kind of adds in a way. I know it's like not a brand new game or anything; it's 5 years old at this point,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of excitement from the Xbox community and stuff about um that game. I don't know if it's just because like, hey, one less exclusive for PlayStation, right? Or if it's like generally like, hey, this is awesome that we're getting to play this game because when Kojima just randomly announced this, what was it yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Randomly announced this, and you see the game hit Xbox. It's also on sale for $20, and you also get dual entitlement.
Yeah.
Right? So not only is it on Xbox, but you get a better price for it on Xbox, and you also get access to it on PC and console. And presumably, potentially even the cloud or something if this cloud ownership thing happens this month.
Yeah.
That could be one of the games, and that could be one of the reasons why they went that route and releasing it in the storefronts, like with the dual entitlement and all that stuff, the way they did as well, because we're seeing more games do that.
Yeah, I mean, good point. I mean, with that new program coming out here soon, I know it's for like um, not the early access. What do they call them? Like the certain the insider program and stuff. Like with it coming to the regular fan base shortly after, I think having your own game streamable in the cloud is going to be awesome. Considering that Kojima is working on a cloud game for Microsoft right now with OD. Maybe this is kind of like a test run to some extent, as far as like with the dual entitlement and being able to stream a game that you own in the cloud. Maybe there's some test worthiness there, as well as the fact that even if it's a 5-year-old game, it's a director's cut. You get the additional combat stuff. It's a beautiful looking game. Not quite the game for me. I couldn't get into it, at least on the first playthrough when they had it in PC Game Pass. Thanks to 505 Games, I think it was for the publishing aspect of that. But it was a lot of cutscenes versus action. But I think I'm past the majority of the cutscenes. But I wound up putting it down before it left PC Game Pass. But I'll probably consider picking it up at some point between now and the holiday. But yeah, it's a great looking game. A lot of people that I know that have played it and enjoyed it. It's more than just a delivery game. It's got like a social aspect where I guess other players can leave resources for things to help you traverse throughout the landscape and stuff like that. So whether it's building a bridge or having a ladder or an extra carrying case or something like that for some more packages, I think that's a pretty cool feature, and can't wait to see OD because I'm leaning more towards the horror aspect with OD. So definitely looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's hopefully we see some more of those PlayStation surprises on Xbox type of deal. But that was pretty cool with Kojima, and now he owns the rights to it. Who knows if we
Yeah.
see Death Stranding 2
Yeah,
at
that
launch.
was my main thought is like, well, like Death Stranding 2 is one of the big exclusives for PlayStation coming next year. And
Mhm.
I think that in a way, like, even if we don't know what's going to happen, right? Which we don't right now, we don't know when it's coming. It could be right away, it could be a couple months after, or it could be a year after, it could be a couple years after. We don't know what kind of deal they have in place for with PlayStation as far as like some kind of contract with an exclusivity deal or anything like that. Who knows, right? I would say that most likely whatever the deal was isn't the same as it was before with this happening. Um, but also in a way, like because of the way that that community a lot of times talk about games, like timed exclusives don't count and all this other kind of shit or whatever. Like it's still just knowing that PlayStation doesn't own the rights to it anymore, and that game will eventually hit Xbox. I know that there's no question about that Death Stranding 2 will eventually come to Xbox, right?
Yeah,
Um, it in a way, it kinda takes away the feeling that I think some of those gamers have, not just the, about their pipeline, but about that game in general because it's no longer theirs or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's kinda interesting, 'cause I already see, like, people, like, giving hate and stuff, like, "Oh, fuck this, fuck blah." And it's like but I also saw a lot of I saw a lot of people buy this game.
yeah.
Yeah, so the people were like instantly, "Hey, hell of a deal. Oh my god, it's crazy." I already own it, like on, PC,
Mhm.
so, I didn't feel necessarily the need to buy it again, but I it's kinda hard to pass up too, so I don't
Yeah,
know, maybe I will because I don't think I own the director's cut, and I think it's
yeah.
like a $10 upgrade or something, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile for the extra combat, the extra skins, and a few other vehicles and things like that. So, um, it's just like the only reason why I didn't pick it up right now is I need to be in the headspace to get back into it because
Yeah,
I finally got through a lot of the cutscenes. I mean, like I said, it's a great looking game. A lot more cutscenes than I was
showpiece.
anticipating in the beginning, but yeah, for the most part, I'm now at the point where it's probably more action stuff, and I was like,
Yeah,
all right, let me put this down for right now. But I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of people that enjoy it. It like I said, it's Kojima. It's some of his weirdness that people love about his games, and I'm more so looking forward to OD. But this is a good landing on the Xbox ecosystem.
yeah, and it is a graphical showpiece, like, and that game, I played, a couple hours of it, and I was like, "Wow, this is some crazy fucking shit." Like, I have no idea honestly what's happening, but it's typical Kojima stuff, right? Like, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
Eventually I wanna play through and finish it, but, yeah, it's on Xbox. Surprise. And nobody saw that coming.
No.
Just another one, right? Yeah, but I wanna get into some of these other things going on, Buzz, because not only do we have Stalker 2 and Flight Sim coming around the corner, plus also Indiana Jones,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of things happening, in general. Um, and I just want to go through some of the content updates and other news that we got because overall, like, this is one of the things that separates Xbox for me, right? Is that a lot of the games that they make live on. they just continue, right? They keep you coming back. They always add something. One of them was that Halo 2 playlist inside Halo Infinite was a big update they have for this operation or whatever going on right now. So before the show tonight, me and Kate actually hopped in and played some Halo Infinite with the I think it's like Delta something Delta Ops or whatever
Yeah.
playlist. And dude, holy shit, it's freaking amazing. Actually went as far as to change the mechanics and the movement and stuff. So there's no sprint, right? It's got the typical Halo 2 movement feel. The guns
Mhm.
actually kind of slightly feel different and like it's just the map there's like I played on what was they're obviously forged maps, but with how good Forge is now, they don't feel like forged maps like they used to. Like these are just like legitimate awesome maps. Played on Sanctuary, Beaver Creek, um, Lockdown, um, and I think it's Last Resort. I can't remember the name of the map that's like kind of like in the town outside or whatever.
Mhm.
But dude, this is just like freaking awesome. And that's just one game.
Yeah.
And there's I mean that they also came off of another update where they had for Halloween and stuff. Age of Mythology Retold,
Mhm.
free massive content update.
Yeah.
With another like story based kind of co-op campaign style missions you can play through. Um, Completely free. This game just came out. I was kind of surprised at how fast something like that got such a big update. Forza Motorsport, Fuzz. This one's up to your alley.
Oh yeah.
It's got NASCAR.
Mhm.
Now, Forza Motorsport lacked some things at launch, right?
Yeah.
It lacked drift. It lacked still's lacking drag racing. It lacked some other things too. They've
Mhm.
added almost everything, right?
Yeah.
But something that people didn't expect them to add that is a really cool ass thing is NASCAR.
Mhm.
And can you tell us why? Is
Well, outside of being a fan, there's a couple of things. Like, if you are a NASCAR fan, there hasn't been a annual like NASCAR game in like a couple of years now. I forget the name of the company, but it was owned by like motorsports.com or something. They used to be like an online magazine, and they went and bought up a lot of these
yeah,
devs and kind of stole some money from NASCAR. But they lost that license. The license was given to iRacing, who are the racing sim or online racing sim guys. But it's like subscription based, and supposedly they were going to make a 2025 NASCAR game. Haven't heard much on it lately, so I'm surprised that Microsoft was able to slide in there, and maybe they coughed up some extra cash to NASCAR to get that license. I know they've had it in the past, so bringing it back and having the official, the current gen cars, the new Toyota, the new Camaro, the new Mustang, having those body lines and everything in the game. It's going to be up to the community to make the paint schemes and stuff like that. Like they didn't do a full on licensing purpose, but you have a good bit of some of the tracks for the regular season. Like you have Homestead, you have Daytona. I'm thinking that they're going to probably add Circuit of the Americas or COTA out in Texas.
mm,
Hopefully,
yeah,
they bring that one next. I know they're getting was it Mount Panorama or Bathurst here soon, but from a NASCAR standpoint, that was like for everybody else that was doing the road courses. If you were doing the oval racing, just to race with friends, have a good time, NASCAR was the go to. I think that was in what was it, six? I think
yeah.
that was in Forza Motorsport 6. So yeah, it's pretty cool that they're bringing it back. I know there's going to be some times I'm going to be hitting up Daytona trying to see if we can get a 20 car lobby all in the draft at 200 miles an hour and see if everybody can race clean enough not to create the big one on track type of deal. But man, that's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it could be like the best NASCAR game out,
Yeah.
right? Right, which is crazy to think, right? Like, so, like in general, there's a lot of NASCAR fans and stuff. So, if that had lot, I talked about this before the show. If if that was something they had at launch or whatever, that would have been a
Mhm.
big like selling point,
Yeah.
right? But now here it is just as a free update.
I love how
So
they sneak those updates in there. They so many games. It's like they want to. I think we're starting to realize the whole point is to keep you playing games. Even if you're not buying new ones, you're still playing, spending time playing the current games that you may own or that are in the service, and then they can get you to hey, maybe you cough up a skin, or maybe you add a battle pack or a battle pass or something like that. It's like they definitely make it hard to stay away. It's about the best way to put it.
yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, and I'm not trying to shit talk on PlayStation here, but that's the kind of thing they haven't figured out, right?
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 is really the only successful kind of live service game they have, and the majority of its success is on PC.
Yeah.
They do have some success on console with it as well, but that's and I think that was kind of like they didn't anticipate that one taking off like it did. They expected Concord to be the game for them,
Yeah.
which was a huge failure. But this is something that, in general, is one of my favorite things about Xbox. And it's something that I don't really get a lot of credit for. It's just kind of an expectation, you know?
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of people say, oh, they're sick of games of service and all these other kind of things, right? But for me, I look at it like this. Okay. I buy a game full price. It has plenty of content in it, and more than most, I would argue, Nintendo or PlayStation games at launch, right?
Mhm.
A lot of these games have multiplayer, co-op, campaign at launch.
Mhm.
Then they continuously give you free updates
Yeah.
for years, right? Now, if you were to ask me, okay, which would you rather have? Is it a game that you can play once for 10 to 15 hours and you never really have a point to touch it again, and it never really gets any content or never gets any updates, like something like Spider-Man 2's all its DLC was canceled, right?
Yeah.
Or would you rather play something that is awesome to begin with, but is also just getting better for years?
The latter.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer to me. So you can look at it as like games of service because there's monetization and all these other kind of things. But
Mhm.
a lot of the content you're getting in these games is completely free.
Yeah.
Um, the Forza stuff's free. The Age Mythology Retold thing we just talked about is free. The Halo Infinite stuff is free, right? Yeah, there's ways to spend money in these games,
Mhm.
but it's completely optional, you know. Another one, Forza Horizon 5 just had a huge amount of Halo content actually hit the lab on there where you can make tracks and all this other kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's like 70 plus pieces or something like that, I think it was.
Yeah, a
Yeah, that's
whole bunch of props so you can have like the stuff on the sides of the track, the for the walls or barriers. You got the pelican, you got a lot of the stuff that you saw in some of like I think there was like a showcase, or I think what did they call it? I think they're called showcases in the game where you have to race against the clock, and it's
yeah.
usually you against either like AI opponents or like a car versus motorcycles or a car versus jet skis type of thing. They definitely went all out to have it. So if you're got that creative bug and you want to make like a Halo map in Forza, you can definitely do it now.
Yeah. And again, it's free.
Yeah.
I was catching a theme here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the goal is to keep people engaged and playing, and there's fans that, and this is why I think you see like these player counts when they announce like this game hit 20 million, this game hit 30 million or whatever. It's like because these games still grow,
Mhm.
right? Year after year after year after year. And it was so earlier when I said like one of the things I like about Xbox is the games live. You're not just hey, here's the game. And now they have some like that for sure.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like a lot of the games and the franchises, like we just keep getting cool shit. Um, so besides that, Black Ops 6, like I said before, is getting its season one. That's
Mhm.
hitting on November 14th. and they came prepared. Did you have a chance to catch everything dropping? Or
No, I just know that there's some new maps, and I've been hearing rumors about Master Chief being a skin.
yeah, that's a rumor because that was supposed to be possibly planned for the last game that it may have been pushed, right?
Okay.
So that was, I think, I don't know if it was data mined or where that rumor came from, but it came from somebody, and they said that like it was scrapped, but potentially could be later and saved for later. And people
Mhm.
assumed it would be Black Ops 6, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense. I know that season one they've announced the replace your skin.
Oh yeah.
So we'll have that. There's gonna be 5 maps throughout the season. You're also getting Warzone new map drop.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's new kill streaks, new zombie map. I mean, there's just like a shit ton of content. It's like it's pretty astounding. Korkenstein said same on the Master Chief skin. Yeah, you heard the same thing? Right on.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's just kind of like overwhelming, you know, in a way. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't yeah, that's what we're talking about, Jasper. Jasper said Forza Horizon just added a lot of Halo assets also. It's like why don't people talk about like even like all other Xbox shows or like all these other things and stuff or the community in general like talk about this aspect of Xbox.
I don't know. I mean, I've been saying for a while now with Forza Horizon, they add new cars every month. So each week you have between 1 to 4 cars that they, have available for free. You just play some of their, daily content and stuff like that, or some of the events, and you wind up getting new cars that you don't have to pay for. Yes, they do have car packs that you can pay for, but majority of them are free. It's only the ones that usually have some sort of licensing tied to them, like the Universal Studios ones, the Fast and Furious ones, and there was a few other cars that were a mixture of new and custom, like specially modified cars. You have things like State of Decay 2 just had its last update. The
Yeah.
team's now focusing on State of Decay 3, but they've had 38 updates from launch, and that was what.
That's a game is a perfect example, man. They've had
Yeah,
some paid content, right? But most of it's been free.
yeah,
Only the
like
bigger, massive updates they charge.
yeah, and a lot of people got the Juggernaut edition. Like if you did like their deluxe edition at launch, you got the Juggernaut edition for free, which included more skins, more content, more weapons, some specialized cars and things like that. That add some interesting aspects while you're going through like Trumbull Valley and some of the other towns and things. But yeah, I as much as I like Days Gone, I like the fact that there's so much replayability with State of Decay 2. Um, and they even added like story content for their, like, I think it's called Homecoming, which is geared to be more story focused as opposed to like just, your own sandbox with zombies kind of thing. And they also had Daybreak, which is like for those that like the multiplayer aspect of not really tower defense, but like kind of along those lines under a timer. Yeah, they've added so much to that game, and I'm still hooked on that game and looking forward to 3 coming out. Hopefully, maybe 2026, maybe sooner, but I think
Yeah.
2026 or 2027 is like the time frame for it right now.
Yeah, we'll hopefully we'll find out next year, maybe. Like at
Yeah.
least like kind of update on that. We saw it again for the first time last year at the summer showcase, right?
Hmm.
And it looked great. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like talk about a leap for a studio, you
Hmm.
know? That was definitely a leap for Undead. It's Undead Labs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Undead. Like they always kind of launched rough, came
Yeah.
out with great updates quickly, you know. And then the game got amazing and more amazing and more amazing and then crazy good over time. And then they just keep building these huge player bases and stuff. But this one, they're like, seems like they're really nailing some things, with the look of the game and they're going more of like maybe third person over the shoulder style, a little bit closer
Mhm.
view of the combat and stuff. But it looked like from what we saw, it still kind of retained the heart and soul of what the franchise is about.
Yeah.
The chat saying nobody talks about this stuff because it's positive. Yeah,
Yeah, quite possible.
it's true, man. Like like talk about the 360 feel kind of coming back a little bit. Like Call of Duty's hitting, you get it in Game Pass, right? All these games getting these updates and stuff. Forza getting tons of updates, both of them. Um, you got games to look forward to. Games to look forward to next year. Random games dropping that you didn't see coming. Overall, it's just kind of like pretty damn awesome, right?
Yeah.
Then we have another game that has continued to get a shit ton of free updates over the course of this generation was Flight Sim, right? And then now we have Flight Sim 2024 hitting on the 20th or 19th. That was the 19th.
19th. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the 19th of this month. So we're probably going to get some more updates on that soon as well, I would
Mhm.
imagine.
Yeah.
Because that's one that we haven't had a report on about a extra preview show or anything like that. But I would anticipate something coming soon. But I want to get into this other thing where I think Xbox is dominating right now. Besides just the amount of games we have to play and the game releases, you also have previews and stuff like that. We had recently, I don't know if you had a chance to catch the Soccer 2 documentary they launched like last month,
Yeah. That one I
but
did. Yeah.
yeah, that one was pretty awesome. But now they're doing another documentary, this one for South of Midnight. So that one is coming, I think they said on the 12th or the 11th, one of those 2 days. So we're going to get a big look at South of Midnight. And a part of me thinks we could get a release date. What do you think?
I hope so. I mean, at worst, maybe a dev direct date when we'll get to see more. But I think a release date or release month will probably be part of it. We know Avowal is going to be February. Maybe this is March or April or something along those lines. But I've ever since I saw this game, I've been looking forward to it. Looking forward to the traversal, the boss fights, everything. So I can't wait to see what they got to show us next week. But yeah, release date would be nice.
Somebody in the chat, I forget who it was, said that the surprise South of Midnight is actually doing this big documentary now with Dev Direct probably happening in January.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was Wacko Games said, why are they showing South of Midnight before Developer Direct? Odd. Well, that's a good question, and I was thinking about it when I saw that in the chat, but my thinking would be that this year in 2025 has so much that maybe they just don't have room for it with everything what the other games they have planned to show, and it could maybe it's a earlier game.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the dev direct is for the following 4 games after Avowed and South of Midnight.
When did we get the Stalker 2 document?
Oof.
That was in September or October. Y'all
I think
remember
it may have
that?
been like end of September, I think.
Okay. And I remember Hellblade 2 had a couple of these things closer to
Mhm.
launch also.
Yeah.
So what if South of Midnight ends up being like a January game?
Start the year off strong. Yeah.
I don't necessarily I'm not calling that. I'm just saying like that would be a reason why, or the other reason could be just the fact that okay, well, we know in 2025 they have plans to release Fable, Avowed, South of Midnight,
Mhm.
Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Towerborn is going to get its official release or game preview Game Pass release early next year as well. And also, last Dev Direct, we had a Square Enix game show up.
Yeah.
So no longer when we go into a Dev Direct are we just anticipating first party. And they could have had any of these Xbox games in the Dev Direct too. So it's not like they like didn't have something else to put there. But they were like, "Hey, we're gonna put Square in," and I think it's part of their new partnership with Square, right?
Yeah.
Um, Froggy says that seems very optimistic, Mav. They would not want to front load the year that much. Hey, what if they're just loaded like crazy and fucking like remember Avowed wasn't originally planned to be a 2025 game. It was supposed to be this year. So that got moved to February. There's already been speculation they could end up moving it slightly again just because how much stuff got put on top of it, which we called. We said this was going to happen, right? When they announced it's going to February, we're like every game gets delayed to February. So there's going to be like 4 or 5 other games get launched right on top of it. So what even if they move it like a few weeks into like early March or something, you do South of Midnight maybe in like January, you do something you do Avowed like February or March or whatever. Then you do Doom: The Dark Ages screams summer game to me.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have Fable would be if it actually hits 2025 would be holiday,
Yeah.
right? Towerborn would be in preview early next year, so it's not like a full release, you know. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what I don't think it would be that jam packed if they did it early. It's also one of those games that you're probably going to play for like the 15, 20 hours or whatever and kind of be done with it,
Mhm.
right? So that's one of those example games, right? So I don't think it's going to be as like massive as like Avowed or Fable or um, Doom or anything like that. So maybe it's not optimistic. I don't know. I mean, what do you think, chat? Is it possible with a documentary hitting this month for South of Midnight that it ends up actually releasing, let's say, within the first 3 months of 2025? Give me your yeses or no. I'm gonna say I'm more. I don't know why they do a documentary now, if that's the case. So
I'm thinking it next year is going to be so stacked they had to figure out where to kind of squeeze it in, like because it's not in the dev direct. Let's say dev directs are typically like end of January, beginning of February, at least for the past 2 years. I'm thinking that dev direct may have another Square appearance, um,
Final Fantasy
and
16.
either that or Forspoken, or maybe both, or maybe Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, and something else up their sleeve, kind of thing, that we're not expecting. I don't want to say Final Fantasy 7 just yet because I think that's going to wait for the third chapter. But I think Square makes an appearance. Maybe even Sega makes an appearance, because they're going to start releasing part of that super game where it's like some of their arcade retro games that have been reimagined are going to be probably hitting within the year's time. So we'll see if Virtual Fighter might be that first one that gets mixed in there. Um, but I think South of Midnight make an appearance now. It's going to drop somewhere between January and March. It's definitely before June. Same thing with Avowed. Um, we think it's February for the most part. It's probably close to a lock, but like Mav said, I think if anything, Avowed can wiggle a couple of weeks early or a couple of weeks later. Like I think they want to pull that surprise. I forget who did it before. I think the Slow Clap for Seafood did that, where it was supposed to be a late February release, and they're like, "Oh, available early February," 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And I could see Avowed doing something similar. But I don't know which one comes first, whether it's Avowed or South of Midnight. Right now, I'm going to say probably South of Midnight, and then maybe a later release for Avowed or something like that. And then something that we see at the Dev Direct, between then and June kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where Microsoft is at, because we still got to hear something on Contraband. I don't think Perfect Dark is this year.
Yeah, no, I think Perfect Dark's probably 2026 at the earliest, right?
Yeah. Maybe Bethesda's, Bethesda Online's game that they've been working on separate from Fallout 76 kind of thing. Maybe that's another one.
But I think it's pretty safe to say there's probably something else for 2025 that we don't know about,
Yeah.
right? As far as like a big game, right? We can I like a game like Blade, I think is further out. A game like Perfect Dark, I think is further out.
Mhm.
The Halo stuff all just kind of recently got talked about, that they're all in kind of early stages on that. Um, but there's like other games that have been talked about behind the scenes for a long time. Some of them partnership deals too. Like you
Mhm.
have the Brass Lion Media game, the Wu-Tang Clan game
Yeah.
thing that was being made. You have the IO Interactive Project Dragon game that was kind of reaffirmed, I think, during the FTC case, that was like a Xbox exclusive game, um, or Xbox published game at least. Um, so like, there's definitely several different things that could end up getting announced or getting a 2025 date. Contraband would be one I think would be
Mhm.
interesting. But another one could also be like Forza Horizon 6.
Yeah. I'm still thinking that's a 26, but doesn't mean they won't show it sooner. That's one that, because they have two teams and they can work independently, and I don't think either one is holding each other up. Fable and Forza Horizon can be at the same time, but I'm thinking they save it for 26, but I'll happily be wrong if it comes out in 2025 as well. One thing that has crossed my mind, although I don't think they've officially announced who acquired them, but Private Division might play into this mix.
Yeah, I think Jez made a report that it wasn't Microsoft.
Ah, darn it.
So I saw like a Windows Central article that like Microsoft is not involved or whatever. So I don't know if he did some asking or what. I didn't actually read the article, but it was on like the um, notes of his post, right? So um, it'll be interesting to find out who it is though,
Yeah.
because I was looking. Me and Palmer were talking about this last night, and I was looking at the list. They don't really have like you take No Rest for the Wicked that they're
Mhm.
publishing, and we don't know what all games there are. Supposedly, like 5 games are coming along for the ride. 2 of them that they had done was Roller Drome
Yeah.
and Ollie Ollie, but that
Mhm.
studio that made those games was shut down.
Yeah.
So the other one that was on there was this unannounced project. Is an action adventure game published by Private Division,
Mhm.
but it is supposedly being developed by Game Freak,
That
the
sounds like
makers of
Nintendo to me.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like that one stood out as interesting. And if you look at Private Division's wiki, it's there. I don't know where the information comes from,
Mhm.
but it's on there. So I'm not sure what all games come along for the ride. they published Outer Worlds was probably their biggest game that they
Yeah.
did. But since then, they've done some smaller stuff, and there's been some cool stuff here and there, but I don't really know what kind of prize it is or what kind of role they are gonna play other than what they have that we don't know about, right? And the best thing that they have that we did know about was No Rest for the Wicked,
Hmm.
made by Moon Studios, but that is staying with Take-Two.
Yeah.
So,
That's another reason why I kind of thought it may have been Microsoft, because I know he's had his falling outs with them, but
yeah,
I kind of figured that, and with the Outer Worlds publishing, there is a little bit of a mess if you own the console version trying to play it on PC or vice versa with the DLC and stuff. It's not as bad as some of like the Bethesda titles before they were acquired, but it it's something that Microsoft would probably want to clean up from
yeah,
a Game Pass perspective. So them acquiring it, plus a few of those indies that the private division has worked with, they have a working relationship with them as well. Because like Rollerdrome was in Game Pass not too long ago. It might actually still be in Game Pass. So we'll see. But yeah, the first one that came to mind was Microsoft. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
they wanna clear up some paperwork with publishing. Yeah.
yeah. Froggy says, shout out to Froggy, because this one made me laugh a little bit. I can't in any way see them launching more than 2 big first-party games a quarter. Like, okay, so I get what you're saying, but literally this quarter, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. We have, Stalker 2. Then we have a Game Pass day and date exclusive deal that they've been partnering with for a long time. Not technically first party, but Stalker 2 at this point feels almost like it. Like I know it's not, but Stalker 2, Light Sim, and then Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
all in the same quarter, right? And that's on the heels of right before that 2 big expansions. And also 2 other games, Ara History Untold and Age of Mythology Retold. So as far as this year, yeah, there's a jam pack. But if you say, well, okay, yeah, it just makes sense for this year. Okay, well then 2021, Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 came out like
Weeks apart.
weeks apart, right? So I don't think they're as concerned necessarily with the scope of the games. I think more so it's about like genres and also their partners as well, right? So I wouldn't say that they won't do that at all because if the games, I think they want to have make sure that they have a consistent pipeline of games, whether that be first party or third party, and I think they're trying to make sure they can fit the games in where they fit, right? And that's Matt Booty's biggest challenge. Next year, we're gonna have a shit ton of games from like me and Pong went through the 2025 games last night, and our show was pretty much about 2025 could be like the peak of the golden age, what we're calling golden age of gaming. Pong's golden age of gaming, folks. Play what you love, love what you play, right? Like 2025 could be the peak. Like it's crazy. Yes, GTA 6 hitting in the fall, kind of reaffirmed by Take Two. Xbox hitting on all notes with all these big games as well. Got games like Borderlands 4 dropping. There's a ton of stuff. You have a Switch 2 coming out next year. Well,
Yeah.
right? There's just a buttload of stuff, and we're not done this year, but it's going to be pretty damn crazy. Literally from Xbox, you have Avowed, Doom: The Dark Ages, Towerborn, Fable, and South to Midnight is already what we know about. So 1 or 2 more at least. Other bigger kind of scope names of or games or whatever. I could bet on Contraband. I don't know how big
or
it'll be.
Clockwork, one of the two,
Or Clockwork. That's
or
that's
both.
or both. Because there's no really stopping them after. I mean, they still have tons of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
We will have maybe 2026, 2027. We'll be talking about some of these other games, you know. But yeah, then we'll be talking about State of Decay. We'll be talking about Perfect Dark. We'll be talking about, you know, Blade, right? And maybe whatever they announce at the summer show this year, because there will be new games that they announce like every year. It's another thing. They've had like 3 or 4 showcases this year that were pretty stellar, right? They're the only ones really doing that too.
Yeah.
They come and go and people forget. Um, Alvin says they have like 40 studios. There's just going to be some years where they have 5+ games that year. Sometimes it's going to be 2 and a quarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, man. Um, Rocky says Xbox is not exactly known for great studio oversight and management. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I would say when you're in the leaner times of Xbox, there was definitely more pressure for the studios, and maybe they put things out sometimes when they weren't as ready, or they got pushed back and everything. But we're into this point in time now where like the games that have been coming out are hitting.
Mhm.
Like Hellblade 2 was a complete polished product. Whether you loved it, whether you didn't. Like there was nothing wrong with how that game came out whatsoever. Like people that were into that kind of game loved it. You add ABK into the mix now, you talk about Call of Duty. This is the best Call of Duty launch uh in an extremely long time. Um you talk about, okay, well, what about um something like Age, right? They're not getting any credit for how Age 2, Age 4, Age of Mythology, all getting updates, all getting awesome content. Nobody's saying, "Hey, they don't know how to run those studios." Our History Untold came out. That was a partnership deal that they made with Oxide Games, who some are speculating they could end up becoming part of Microsoft. Who knows? Because of past verbiage used.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying, "Oh, they did a horrible job getting that game out." So that was a fucking fantastic game. I don't know, man. I think that narrative's gonna die. Previews for Stalker 2 are amazing. I know that it's not their studio, but they had a lot of
Mhm.
partnership and allowing them to keep going and like they they helped fund that game for sure, right? Um,
Machine Games is like, at
that's the
least
next
for
one.
the influencers that were flown out. And I know people will say, well, they did that for Redfall. Well, Redfall, we know, was a different animal compared to Indiana Jones. Machine Games versus the particular Arcane studio that was working on Redfall, which was kind of left alone to their own devices while everybody else's hands on deck were on Starfield. I think that is a mistake that won't ever happen again. Well, I won't say it won't ever, but considering Pete's no longer there and some stuff was shaken up, I think you won't have to worry about that from Bethesda again. Nobody's complaining about how what do you call it? Fallout 76 is being handled now.
Hmm.
Um, Halo has done its already done its shakeup. The only thing that was the complaint before was the content thing, and they've kind of got that resolved like a year and a half ago or so. So, yeah, their studios now, I would say, are firing all cylinders. There are other studios that were notorious for doing the same that are a bit shaky. Like Insomniac is having its weird hiccups. Um, Bungie, that's a whole nother story. um, but yeah, it's what used to be the solid teams out there ever since, what was it, Connie, I forget her last name, I think it was Connie Booth or something like that.
Yeah,
Ever
yeah.
since she left PlayStation or was fired, they've had their own little bit of turmoil over in their camp. But on the Xbox side of things, the ones that were focused on and stories written about were 343 and the Initiative, and those two have kind of gotten their acts together, and I think they've come around a good bit in comparison to where they were like 4 or 5 years ago. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I know that's been a problem. Yeah, I'm not gonna act like it hasn't been, like, in the past, like, especially like on some of the studios, right? But like overall, I think that you're starting to see that change, and I know layoffs suck, right? A lot of the things that they were doing and also the transition and movement of leadership roles and all these other kind of things have been doing is to help streamline some of this stuff. But yeah, 343 had the biggest shakeup out of all of them, right? But there seems to be this kind of new energy around that studio. And I believe in the direction that they're going in. I think they have the right person there. Now, X343 developers may not agree with that, but those are also X343 developers, right? So, because I know there's been some people out there kind of like shit talking like the new leadership with 343 and that they said they didn't get enough say and things in the past and all this other kind of stuff. But like, those are the people that are gone also. So I don't know what eventually is going to happen with 343, but I know right now they're fucking rolling in Halo Infinite. The content that they keep putting out for that game is amazing. Like just go play it. I would say there's another thing about Xbox. Another reason I think it's the best ecosystem. They have the best fucking shooters. They have the best shooters. They have the best RPGs, like in general. But they have the best in several different categories. But gameplay wise, you're not getting better than Halo Infinite or Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Both of them are at top tier, and both are owned by Microsoft. So, but yeah, man. Shout out to Spartan661. Hit us with 5 gifted memberships to the channel. Appreciate you, Spartan. He says he wanted to see more green in the chat. So this man came out and he delivered, giving those 5 memberships. Choo choo, motherfuckers. And hey, Fuzz, guess what? I got a little new video for the choo choo, motherfuckers.
I'm the conductor. This is fun. Choo choo, choo choo.
Anyway, I don't know. That's not the video. I think 3-bit fucked with us somehow. What was that? I blame 3-bit for that shit. Like what happened? Man,
Everybody get those tomatoes out.
I don't know. Like this guy, he just shows up. He's not.
I'm the conductor. This is fun. Choo choo, choo choo.
What the fuck? What the hell happened? I mean, it's not the video. I don't know. It's supposed to be something else. Shout out to 3-bit. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate you with the 5 gifteds, man. Yeah, it goes poison with the tomatoes. Yeah, I know 3-bit's probably not gonna see that, so I have to ask him about it later. Like, what did you do, bro? Something else that happened is StarCraft remaster and StarCraft 2 just hit Game Pass also. So if you guys, hey, if you haven't played it, it's on PC. Go give them a shot because there's some of the best classic RTSs of all time. So that's just another thing to add on to the pile of awesomeness that we're talking about. But okay, so 2 things. So we had the South. We talked a little bit about the South of Midnight documentary, right? So that leads us to speculate about the release date and stuff like that. But there's another not documentary, but another in-depth gameplay preview coming soon, and that's for Indiana Jones
Yeah.
as well. So I mean, like we had all these showcases, we have all these games coming out, we have previews. I mean, they're definitely confident in these releases, right? Another in-depth preview gameplay walkthrough for Indiana Jones, and something that they actually shared some of the quotes on a tweet about some of the things people were saying about their time with the game, saying how amazing this game is and stuff like that. So the people are using very high praise in their previews for it. Are you looking forward to checking out the gameplay preview for Indy?
I'm looking forward to it. I think isn't it Monday for them as well, or is that a little bit later next week for the Indiana Jones stuff?
I think it's I let me look it up real quick because I saw the South and Midnight thing and I saw the indie thing, and then I also was like looking at all the updates and all these other things for all these games. So everything just blended together into this plethora of stuff. Let's see, but I think Bethesda had tweeted it. Maybe Machine Games did. Okay, yeah, here it is. On the 11th. So keep your eyes on our channels on November 11th for a gameplay deep dive of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So is that the same day as the South and Midnight one?
I think so. Or at least Indy might be the start, and they may wrap it up with South of Midnight or something along those lines.
Okay,
I think next week is going to be pretty busy.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, Indy's the 11th. South of Midnight's the 12th.
Okay.
So we're getting it on the 11th. We're getting a gameplay deep dive for Indiana Jones. On the 12th, we're getting a documentary from South of Midnight called "Weaving Hazel's Journey," a South of Midnight documentary, where we explore the vision, art direction, music, gameplay, and talent behind our upcoming action adventure, plus get an exclusive first look at brand new gameplay footage and interviews with the team. But this is like sounds like such an in-depth thing, is why I was like thinking that maybe that's earlier. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Fuzz, what I want to have some predictions, some early predictions, unfounded, unplanned, unthought about predictions. Because something I think we can count on is something being at the Game Awards for some kind of reveal. I mean, they've done it numerous times. The only year that really they didn't do anything was like when the FTC was looking at them under a microscope.
Yeah.
And you had they just kept cutting the fill, because that was the year everything got delayed out of 2022 is, all that stuff. That was like the only year we really didn't have something decent at the Game Awards to show, right? They revealed Perfect Dark there before. I mean, they've had Hellblade 2 there a few times. They revealed a freaking console there, right? So I think it's a decent expectation. Blade was shown last year that we're gonna see something. If you could pick something that's gonna show up at the Game Awards, what do you think it could be? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I'm still on that hardware kick for the portable or handheld.
Yeah.
I still think that has a strong possibility. As far as a game, I'm thinking, see, because it would make it would make sense if they did Forza Horizon there, but I can't imagine them doing it this year unless it's coming out next year. and like I said, I'm still thinking that's 2026. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say something from Bethesda that we don't know, either that they're close to finishing or that they've been working on. So it's either whatever Bethesda Online has been working on, separate from Fallout 76, or Elder Scrolls 6. But once again, I think that's a 2026, late 2026 at the earliest kind of thing. So it's got to be whatever Bethesda Online is working on, which my gut tells me that's Starfield Online. Basically a Star Citizen killer kind of thing. Well, I shouldn't say Star Citizen killer, but like something closer to that, but for the console space. I mean, you're not going to see anything like Star Citizen on console. So
yeah,
I would say that would be the closest thing that we can hope for.
I like it. So the ZeniMax Online game, right? Like that's where I was gonna go with this because I was anticipating that had already been announced at this point.
Yeah.
And maybe it just didn't make last year's show or this year's show because they're saving it for the Game Awards. That's also something that is very likely to be multi-platform because it's an online MMO game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense to announce something like that at the Game Awards. I don't know what game it's going to be, but whatever it is, I think is going to be massive. Because just the rumblings that have kind of come from the teams there is they're extremely excited about what they're working. There was a lot of rumors it could be some other IP that led to speculation about something Marvel or something Star Wars or something else because Bethesda, if you think about it, like before they were acquired, obviously they had made a deal with Disney for multiple games, right? They had Indiana Jones and Blade.
Yeah.
Right? That we now know about, right? So ZeniMax Online's game could have been part of that whole thing. The question is, what is it? Is it Star Wars? Is it something else? Who knows? But whatever it is, I think it's going to be pretty damn awesome. It could be a Starfield Online game too. That's a very good guess, and that's something we talked about in the past as well. And I think it's something a lot of people would be excited about because one thing when I'm playing Starfield, I'd be badass if I was running around with a crew, and we could all fly around together on a fucking ship and actually like walk around the ship and do like it'd just be crazy, man. Like I could imagine building out like an encampment at like a whole town on a fucking planet, pretty much. Like it could be anything like that, right? So it could be you could have one of the Activision Blizzard's new franchises that they have been in the works on that we haven't heard about yet get announced. But we know that there's different teams at ABK working on new IP. That would be a crazy surprise,
Yeah.
So like I think whatever it is probably something new. Whatever we see. But I think whatever it is, that it'll be something big that they saved for.
Yeah. Another mic drop type moment because Blade definitely blew people's minds.
Yeah, that stole the show at the Game Awards, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Shout out again to Spartan661 who hit us with another 5 gifted Fun Speculation memberships. I appreciate you, Spartan. And here we go. This one is for all you Indiana Jones fans.
Choo choo! Ha 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 ha!
3-bit didn't ruin that one. Yeah, appreciate you, Spartan. Jasper says the no-gooders flying ships instead of riding horses. That's a throwback to our Red Dead Redemption gang that we had there. That was some fucking fun, man. I need to get back to that's another one. I could spend a million hours just playing Red Dead Redemption Online if I
Yeah.
wanted to. It's amazing.
At some point, somebody's going to create like the perfect Western sandbox game that
God, dude.
that Rockstar kind of left alone. Like they did an awesome single player story, but the person that can figure out a cowboy or like a Western game sandbox where you can build your own brothel, you can build your own, bar or casino and stuff like that. That whoever does it first is going to, make tons of
Yeah.
bank.
I think there's a small indie team that actually, because I saw releasing something like that like soon, or maybe they already just came out with it. It's like a survival, farming building game, but it's set in the old west. Because I saw it
Mhm.
like on one of the sites where I can look through like the games for coverage and stuff,
Mhm.
and it was there. I was like, that's pretty intriguing. I haven't played one of those games in the old west, but yeah, I would love to have seen Rockstar treat Red Dead Online like they did GTA Online. Obviously, they don't have the amount of players on Red Dead Online as they do GTA Online, so that's part of it. But part of the
Mhm.
reason why they have all those people in GTA Online is because they kept building it into what it is, um, starting with the launch of it and just kept adding on to it. But like Red Dead Redemption 2 sold like crazy. But yeah, I agree, man. It's something I want more like Wild West setting games. Stories and like the gameplay and the gunplay and everything's just so much fucking fun, dude. Um, so hopefully we get that. But yeah, it could be maybe we'll have the no gutters in space, Jasper. That'd be fun as hell. Let's see here. So the other thing I wanted to touch on. Oh, I saw this in the chat real quick. Cygnus asked a good question. Indiana Jones meta prediction.
Hmm. I'm going to say 89.
89.
I think it will probably be somewhere around there. Like for whatever reason, I think because it's Xbox tax, yeah. It won't reach the 90, so it'll be stuck at 89.
Okay. So you think the tax will cost them that point or whatever?
Yeah, and then when it comes to PS5 in May, they'll bump it
Yeah.
2 to 3 points.
I
The dual sense is so immersive when you're whipping people.
um man, I was thinking about this now for the first time. The previews were glowing,
Mhm.
right? But also there was a couple of them that they didn't like it as much,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think I think this kind of game isn't necessarily going to be for everybody. Like there's going to be some that don't like it. So I think it's probably going to get a few sevens and stuff like that, right? I think it's going to get some nines for sure. So I'm going to go and sit at like I think it'll probably get more nines than sevens. I think it's going to be a lot of eights and nines, few
Mhm.
sevens. Um I'm going to sit at like a 85, which in today's day and age is like a 93 from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just the way that the cookie crumbles now, man. But like I think it's gonna be an amazing game. And yeah. I in a weird way, it also might help this game, people knowing it's going to PlayStation
Mhm.
with the mindset of some of the reviewers, the way they are. Just
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, it helped Hi-Fi Rush. People that couldn't get into the music or rhythm before, just it clicked all of a sudden.
Yeah, man, I hated it before, but no, all of a sudden I'm just understanding what it's all about, you know? Yeah, really get it. It's because 'cause you're playing it on the console that you like, man. What it is. Antonio Newman says the gameplay loop might not be for everyone, so I don't think it hits close to 90. A lot of the previews did kind of say it wouldn't be for everybody. Yeah, the most glowing things that heard about it was a lot of comparisons to Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, right? With the way that some of the mechanics kind of staying true to the uh, characters and all that kind of stuff as well. So that game is renowned as like a masterpiece classic now, you know. But if that game came out today, in today's day and age, um, would it still get the attention that it did back then? I don't know. I would hope so, but I don't know. There's a lot of people looking to hate on things these days, right? So yeah, I'll stick with 85. So we talked a little bit about Dev Direct earlier, Fuzz.
Mhm.
We'll talk about Xbox has all this stuff that's coming out. They have these game previews. They have a deep dives. The games are releasing, content updates. They had numerous showcases already this year. They have the Game Awards around the corner. Um, Next year's Dev Direct. So at this year's Dev Direct, we had, I think, 5 games,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, with Visions of Mana being the oddball surprise kind of there as the 5th game, right?
Yeah.
What do you think we're just gonna get, okay, these are the games coming this year kind of situation? Like, that would mean Avowed, but we got that at last Dev Direct, right?
Mhm.
Doom Dark Ages, I think, will be there.
Yeah.
If I was to bet on one, it would probably be that. Um, was Fable at last year's Dev Direct also, or no? I can't
I think it
remember.
was in the June showcase.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe Fable, right? Maybe Doom the Dark Ages. South of Midnight, they're doing this whole big documentary thing as well. So I don't know if that would be one of them or not. Maybe it still will. I don't know.
Might be after the Dev Direct, like the 15 to 30 minutes after or
But the,
something.
I remember South of Midnight was shown at the summer show as well, right? I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Okay. We're getting gameplay, we're getting all this stuff for it at this documentary thing. Like, seems like something you would have as the Dev Direct,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think it
So,
winds up coming out early enough next year that I don't even know if it makes it into Dev Direct completely. Like I think the Dev Direct is 4 new games. Um, well, four games that are going to be towards the later part of the year. So I think Fable's in
yeah.
there. I think you're right for Doom. Um,
Whatever they announce maybe at the Game Awards this year,
yeah,
if it's a
uh,
2025 game.
yeah. That it's going to be tough because there's just so much stuff that they have in the works. But I games I know won't be there. Uh, Probably Stay at K3, Elder Scrolls 6. Uh, oh, I know which game is going to be there. I just remembered.
Okay.
It's a oldie but goodie that has found its legs again. Everwild.
Oh, that's a good call, bro. Could that be a surprise 2025 game?
I think so.
That would make some sense. Because supposedly they hit their stride in development and everything, and things are going well there now.
Yeah.
They've been working on that game for forever. So it's tough to say, dude. Like, there's so many things that could be that they could have and they could show.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think it's just kind of shows where they are, right? Let's see, Ilray Tito, you probably see some kind of direct or deep dive of each Xbox game. Yeah, I mean, if they did Fable, if they did Doom the Dark Ages, and they did Avowed. But okay, how about this one, Clockwork Revolution?
Yeah. Because I think that's a possibility for 25.
Yeah. Antonio says, "Damn, y'all think everything coming out in 2025?" No, I mean, like, I think Clockwork Revolution could be. I think Contraband is a possibility.
Mhm.
Beyond that, like maybe the ZeniMax Online game because I'm only picking things that like seem in the realm of actual feasibility. You know, um, we already know Doom: The Dark Ages. We already know Fable. We already know Avowed. We already know Towerborn.
Mhm.
Right. And South of Midnight. Right. So it's just about what else is there, and I think there's maybe one or two more games, like we said earlier, and I think whatever those are could be what shows up at the Dev Direct, but that also wouldn't necessarily have to be true because at this year's Dev Direct they showed stuff that's coming out next year.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think Avowed is there again because they already did a Dev Direct. I don't know, man. It's hard to pick. There's too much. There's too much stuff, guys. Too much stuff. Um, by that time, we will also have the cloud game ownership thing will be also a new reality,
Yeah.
right? Which will be another reason to look forward to each one of those games as a way to access them. Again, like I said earlier, like it's okay if you don't want to buy an Xbox, like, but I think it's going to be hard to ignore this ecosystem in general. All these games keep dropping. The accessibility into the ecosystem keeps getting easier and more valuable as they give you more different ways to play the games you buy or subscribe to,
Yeah.
right? So, honestly, I don't think there's anything close to it as far as like the next couple years in value of what you're going to be getting. So, it's gonna be interesting watching this conversation change, Fuzz. It's already happened. Just with the launch of Black Ops 6, with these games coming around the corner, now that we're starting to see positive previews and stuff for these
Mhm.
games, you're noticing Twitter isn't as toxic about Xbox right now. I mean, you still have your console warrior crazies and stuff out there,
Yeah.
but the sky is falling Xbox community itself. A lot of them that every show was just about, I don't understand what the hell they're doing. Everything sucks. You know, they're gonna be there's no reason to even care about Xbox if they do this and they do that. You know, like what's the hell are we even doing here? You know, like that whole mentality is like kind of drowned out by the fact, hey, it's always been about the games
Mhm.
now, and it seems like people are understanding it's still about the games. So I don't know,
Plus,
man.
their preferred platform doesn't have a roadmap, really. I mean, Ghost of Yotai, MLB The Show. Okay. Wolverine at some point, but it's not next year. Um, Death Stranding 2, possibly, but then that might not be exclusive. Knows. um, we have no idea as far as Naughty Dog other than Last of Us 3. So no more Uncharted, I guess. Maybe a new IP. Rumor has it, but when do we see it? Same thing with Sony Santa Monica. You know, a remaster of the earlier God of Wars. That's great.
Mhm.
Is there going to be another newer God of War, or are they going to try their hand at another IP? Would be nice. Um, you know, you got Sucker Punch. Well, Sucker Punch is already doing Ghost of Yotai, but was it Bend Studios? It was rumored that it was a games as a service, but we'll see how that goes. And then you got I think the only other, well, I don't think there's going to be a Gran Turismo 8 until there's a next gen console. You got Gorilla doing probably Horizon 3. If you've played Horizon 2, you already kind of know what the story is for Horizon 3. So that is on the docket, but it'd be nice if they cement when those are going to be. Like, are they 26, 27, 28? Next gen? What are we talking about? Like, And I would have thought Wolverine would be one of those that would be a guarantee for next year, but I guess they're going through some sort of delay or something. So we'll see.
Yeah. Antonio Newman says Fair Games and Marathon supposedly are 2025. Fair Games was originally supposed to be 2025. We haven't heard anything about it in a while.
Concord kind of made them quiet down, so hopefully they put their heads down and come up with something that's more appealing. Marathon, I thought was pushed out of 25 already. I could be
I'm
wrong.
not sure. I don't remember. I remember some kind of reports about something with Marathon, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, Fair Games. I think the question on Fair Games will be, will it last longer than 2 weeks? Because Concord was a 2024 game for them, and it no longer exists. Neither does the studio.
Yeah.
And that game came out, 2 months ago? I mean, you talk about a game no longer exists and the studio no longer exists a couple months after launch. It's pretty damn bad.
Right? After 8 years of development. That sucks.
Oh, God. You can imagine, man. So imagine the pressure that Fair Games, Haven Studios feels. Like, it's like, holy shit, right?
Wait, did somebody just pass?
Yeah, Tony Todd. Candyman.
Damn.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. Yeah, I've been seeing some stuff on Twitter. He's done a lot of video game stuff. He's done a lot of stuff, obviously, in iconic roles in movies. Voice acting, like just done everything. Kind of a legend, in pop culture, geek culture, movie culture, gaming culture, like just in general, man. Like, yeah, it's a tough one. 2024 was a crazy year for that stuff, for celebrity deaths and everything. Yeah, it was. 2024 is rough. Remember like how 2024 started? You had like Bob Saget, and I mean, it was like within a couple weeks there was like 4 or 5. Then it just like kept going throughout the year. You had was it Akira Toriyama? Is that right?
Yeah.
This year, I mean, you have just legends, left and right, like just all over the place. It's just crazy, man. But anyway, yeah. Rest in peace, Tony Todd.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Damn.
Yeah, I know you're a horror fan. You and your wife too, so that probably hits a little different too, because he's definitely known for a lot of
Candyman and a lot of other. Damn.
He did a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Overall, I mean, just in general, Yoshitaka Murayama. Oh yeah, that was the Suikoden, I think, creator, right? As well. Yeah, there's just a lot of people. In general, yeah, tough year for that stuff, but hopefully not as many in 2025. Overall, Xbox looking bright.
Oh yeah.
I hope I laid down the reasons why I think it's the best ecosystem in gaming in this show, and made it clear. I think it's been reaffirmed and kind of almost like reassured, or not that I ever really wavered too much on that, but like just the amount of stuff that we're all getting, the amount of news that we have to look forward to, the amount of updates on the games we're getting, actually playable games we're getting, Game Pass drops we're getting, like just everything under the umbrella, right? It seems like they're clicking.
And other like unspoken features that people take, don't take advantage of, but like, kind of take for granted. Cross save on a lot of stuff, play anywhere. That stuff really, really comes in handy, especially if you have a variety of different platforms. Like if you want to go from playing on your console to playing on your tablet or maybe on your laptop or your desktop computer, you don't have to pay anything extra as far as that cloud save. And the fact that you can pick up where you left off in a lot of cases, and you get 2 copies, that's unheard of everywhere else these days. And I really wish a lot of other platforms would adopt that.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of unique to the Xbox storefront. The only other publisher I know that kind of has something similar is Ubisoft with Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah.
That's via the subscription service, right?
Mhm.
But as far as the storefront goes with Xbox storefront, the people that are utilizing that, hey, props to those developers and publishers because that's consumer first stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me play your games more. It does. Metaphor did that. I'm gonna play it more. I have access to both places. Like I mentioned Metal Slug Tactics. Obviously, it's in Game Pass, right?
Mhm.
But I played it on PC today because I was already just sitting here, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that came out, and like I launched it, and but I know I can go in my bedroom tonight, pop it up on the TV if I want to, or I can have it on my tablet and play it via console streaming or Game Pass Cloud, which I have 2 options to fucking stream the game if I want to, right? Like, and then later you're even gonna have a third option with the game ownership streaming option that they're about to add this month, which was more news that dropped. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Hey, this is the kind of stuff that I wish games media would talk about more in Champion and be critical also of the games that aren't offering those things. Be like, oh, I really wish it would have added this, or it would have been nice if they did this, because that is consumer first that adds value to us. That's some stuff we should be championing, especially as we keep getting more and more digital. Game consoles are releasing without disk drives, including the PS5 Pro that just came out. If we're in this future where it's all digital future for the most part in gaming, access to your fucking games is paramount, right? Like that needs to be something that is really paid attention to from stop all these people games media that were clamoring and fighting for physical, right? I get it, right? But you're fighting against technology at that point. You're fighting against the future that's obvious is like obviously going to happen, just like it already happened on PC, just like it's already happened with music and movies, right? Yeah, you can still buy physical with those, but not Best Buy doesn't even fucking sell DVDs anymore, right? Let's just get real. Okay. Entertainment media has transitioned to almost 100% digital, with the last holdout has been for the most part gaming, right?
Yeah.
And it's inevitable that that's going to continue to change and grow into a digital age. Now, one thing about movies and music is wherever you have your subscription or wherever you have your access to the app or whatever, you can play your fucking movies or you can play your music, right? Why not have that same expectations with games? Why not have the same expectation with video games? Why do we have to buy a brand new copy on every fucking device that we own if we want to access the games there? And that's what Xbox saw a while back. That's why they started this whole initiative with this things, because they know that's the future, right? And in a digital future, access to your digital content wherever you are is going to be the way that people are going to play their games. So that's what we should be advocating for.
Yeah.
The greed of the publishers is making us buy a copy more than once, remasters, remakes on new games, right? Um, that's just ridiculous. Raising the prices on games when you announce your remaster, removing things from subscription services when you announce your remaster of it on something that's not even that old in the first place. I mean, obviously, we know who I'm talking about here. And Nintendo's guilty of this shit too. Like with their way they handle some of their remasters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like,
Although they did say back compat.
I
So,
know, man. I was like holding out hope, and God, I would hope if that wasn't confirmed, if it didn't have it, I hope they would get killed for it. But I feel like they would have gotten a pass, you know. But like these are the things that like matter, you know. Yeah, obviously the games matter most, what we're actually getting to play. But
Mhm.
let's not make excuses for the companies to champion their greed and say they need to make more money off of us so we can get these great games. Like they're fucking we're so lucky to be able to purchase a product from you. Oh, thank you so much for making something that you're selling to me as a consumer product, right? Let's start asking for them to give us better value. The only one doing that, maybe it was out of necessity, maybe it's because of technology, and maybe that they're really pushing the cloud, all these other kind of things, is Xbox. They're the only ones that have mentioned forward compatibility. Like, this is something that games media and other people need to start seeing and really talk about more in general. And this is another reason why the Xbox ecosystem is the best. Because out of all the digital ecosystems, out of all of them, who do I have the most faith in my games going forward with accessing them in the future? It's Xbox.
Yeah.
Because they're giving me access to other places for one purchase or one subscription. That's the way it should be done. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, this was a fun show, Buzz. I hope you had fun. It was a 2-man Xbox Ultimate podcast. Fucking weird. It was, but it was cool, man. I enjoyed talking games with you. But
Yeah.
thanks, chat. You guys rock. Thanks for being here on this episode of XUP. Episode number we're on 205. We'll have more coming up this next week. We'll have FSP, PM in the PM, XUP, all of that again next week. The Game Awards are going to be next month as well. We found out it's on a Thursday, so we'll be able to have a special PM in the PM for that. So we're looking forward to everything coming out soon. And hey, play some of these amazing games. But Fuzzy, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Oh man, this was awesome. Just getting the time or a chance to chat with you about games and our preferred platform and what we're looking forward to and everything. This was awesome. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome as well. Greatly appreciate the interactions, even if we don't always agree on the direction on some of these platforms. It's always great to have the conversation about the hobby we enjoy. So thank you for taking the time to watch us. Don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already. Greatly appreciate it. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, everything but Facebook, because I hate Facebook, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah. Oh, and also tomorrow, Shop Podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night on PTK Blam's channel, me, PTK, and Pong. And then Sunday, me and 3-Bit at 8:30-ish p.m. for Pixelated Echoes. Just do a search on YouTube for Pixelated Echoes. And like Mav said, hope to see everybody right back here on or on Monday evening at 9 for FSP. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks again.
Right on, man. Thanks, Fuzz, and everybody in the chat. You rock. Audio listeners, hey, if you like the content, hey, leave a review as well. Share it out. But also on YouTube, everybody here, if you share it out, hit notification bell, sub, all that kind of stuff, greatly helps us grow. And you guys are amazing. Thank you for watching the show tonight, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. Maybe I will stream something this weekend. Maybe some more Call of Duty. Maybe some Halo 2 playlist stuff, which is freaking awesome as well. You never know. I'll find something to play probably, but have a good one. And I hope you all have a awesome night. Peace out, everybody.
Later.
Bye.